Namaste. Welcome to the lecture session on elements of mechanical engineering. The subject code is BE-MEM 103 or 203. I am Anil Kumar MM, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Maharaja Institute of Technology, Mysore. In this video, I am going to explain the machine tool operations. Okay, before getting to know the machine tool operations, first let us know what do you mean by machine tool, what do you mean by machining. Okay, the mechanical components or mechanical parts that can be produced by various manufacturing processes. Okay, one is the casting process. With the help of casting process, we can produce the mechanical components or mechanical parts, or by the metal forming process we can produce the mechanical components, or by machining process we can produce the mechanical components, or by the joining process we can produce the mechanical components. Okay, but here in your syllabus they have mentioned the machine tools operation, that is machining process. Okay, before getting to know the machine tools, let us discuss what you mean by machining. Okay, machining in the sense the removing the excess material from the workpiece in order to get the desired shape and size, we can call it as machining. Okay, for example, if you have a workpiece that is the size is around 100 by 100 mm. Okay, the 100 by 100 mm the workpiece is there. Okay, you have to convert the required size of the workpiece that is 75 by 75 mm. So what we will do, we will cut the excess material. Okay, just we will cut the excess material to bring into the required shape and size. Okay, that operation we can call it as the machining. Okay, machining means just we are removing the excess material from the workpiece in order to get the desired shape and size, we can call it as the machining process. Okay, with the help of this machining process we can produce the required shape and size of the component. Okay, next, how you are doing the machining? This machining process carried out either manually or by using the specialized machines. What do you mean by manual machining? How you are removing the excess material manually? Okay, one operator, by using the hand tools we are removing the excess material. For example, this is a workpiece, just we have to cut this cut the workpiece material to the required length. Okay, this is, if you can say that this is 30 mm workpiece material. Okay, just we have to cut into 15 mm. What we will do, just with the help of hacksaw blade we can cut the material, or by using the cutting machine we can cut the material. Okay, so first the machining operation, it can be carried out either manually or by using a specialized machine tools. Manual machining means with the help of hand tools we are removing the excess material. Hand tools in the sense by using the chisels, or by using the files, or by using the saw, we can cut the material and to bring the required shape and size. That is called as manual machining. Okay, manually, that means one operator, by using these hand tools we are cutting the excess material and to bring the required shape. That is called as manual machining process. Okay, next type of operation is with the help of machine tools. Okay, the specialized machines are used for cutting the material. Okay, the machine tools, the machines are used for the machining, to performing the machining process. That is called as machine tools. Okay, the machine tools, it is a power driven tool. Okay, we are using the external power to drive that machine. Okay, it is a power driven machine tool, it is used to performing the machining operation. That is called as the machine tools. Okay, machine tools are power driven machine tool that is used to removing the excess material by from the workpiece by using a cutting tool. The cutting tool here we are using. Okay, with the help of that cutting tool, either you can use single point cutting tool or multi point cutting tool. With the help of that cutting tool we can remove the excess material from the workpiece to get the desired shape and size. That is called as machine tools. So example for the machine tools are, one is the lathe, drilling machine, milling machine, grinding machine, shaping machine, planing machine. Okay, these are all the different types of machine tools. With the help of these machine tools you can remove the excess material and to bring the desired shape and size. That operation we can call as the machine tool operation. Okay, next we move on to the lathe. Okay, one type of machine tool, that is the lathe. What I mean by lathe? Lathe is a machine tool. Okay, first, lathe is a machine tool. This machine tool is generally employed for producing the cylindrical shaped component. Okay, with the help of that lathe we can produce the cylindrical shaped component. Okay, the lathe, it is mother of all the machine tool. Okay, why means it is almost all the basic operations, whatever the operations like we can perform in drilling, or we can perform in milling machine, we can perform in grinding machine, or we can perform in shaping machine. Those fundamental operations that can be performed on lathe. That's why the lathe is a mother of all the machine tools, and it is so versatile. Okay, almost all the basic operations can be performed on the lathe machine. So it is a versatile machine. Okay, with the help of this lathe we can remove the excess material from the workpiece in the form of fine chips and to get the desired shape and size. That is called as the lathe machine. Okay, and there are several types of lathe machines are available in the market. Okay, one is the engine lathe is available. Capstan lathe is there, turret lathe is there, automatic lathe is there, CNC lathe is there. Okay, they based on the construction and working, the different lathes are classified into various types. Okay, engine lathe, speed lathe, capstan lathe, turret lathe, automatic lathe, and then the CNC lathe. Okay. And next we will discuss what is the principle of working of lathe, how the lathe machine is working. Okay, how it works. In the lathe machine, here the workpiece, this is the workpiece. The workpiece is rigidly held between the two centers. Okay, this center we can call it as the live center, the headstock center we can call it as the live center, and this center we can call it as the dead center. Okay, in between these two centers we have to fix the workpiece. Okay, the workpiece is rigidly held between these two centers, and the cutting tool. Okay, in the lathe machine we are using a single point cutting tool. This single point cutting tool, it will be rigidly hold on the tool post. Okay, tool post is the tool holding device. Okay, that will hold the cutting tool rigidly. Okay, and the cutting tool, whatever the cutting tool we are using, it should be always stronger and harder than the workpiece material. Okay, normally the cutting tool, it is made up of the high carbon steel or high speed steel or carbides. Okay, and the workpiece will be mild steel. Okay, just we have to feed the stationary cutting tool against the rotating workpiece material. Okay, in the during machining, the workpiece will be rotating at very high speed. You have to feed the cutting tool against the rotating workpiece material. Okay, here the workpiece will be rotating at very high speed and cutting tool will be stationary. We have to feed the stationary tool against the rotating workpiece material and move parallelly. Okay, when the tip of the cutting tool touches with the workpiece material, so the excess metal will be removed in the form of fine chips and we will get the desired size in the workpiece. Okay, that is the working principle of the lathe machine. Okay, here the workpiece will be held between the two centers. One is the live center and then the dead center, and the cutting tool will be rigidly hold on the tool post. Okay, we have to feed the stationary tool against the rotating workpiece material and then move parallel to the lathe axis. Okay, just we can moving parallel to the lathe axis. When the tip of the cutting tool is contact with the workpiece material, so the excess metal will be removed in the form of fine chips and we will get the desired size in the workpiece material. Okay, that is the working principle of the lathe machine. Okay, so the lathe is generally, it is a turning machine. Okay, it is used to reduce the diameter of the workpiece material. Okay, here the cutting tool will be feed perpendicular to lathe axis and then move parallelly. At that time the excess metal will be removed in the form of fine chips and we will get the desired size in the workpiece material. Okay, basically the lathe is a turning machine. Okay, turning means it is used to reduce the diameter of the workpiece material. Okay, it is used to produce the cylindrical shape on the workpiece. Okay, if you have a square workpiece, that can make it a circular shape. Okay, it is a turning machine. Turning is it can use it to produce the cylindrical shapes on the workpiece material. That operation we can call it as a turning operation. Okay, so lathe is a turning machine. Okay, next we will discuss what I mean how the lathe machines are specified. What is the specification of the lathe machine? Lathe machines are specified like, one is the maximum length of the workpiece can be held between the two centers. Okay, maximum means only this much length. Okay, this is the maximum length. The maximum length of the workpiece can be held between the two centers. That means live center and dead center. In between these two centers, the maximum length of the workpiece can be accommodated, or it can be held between these two centers. That is one of the specification. Maximum means the length of the workpiece can be held between these two centers. Okay, that is a live center and then is a dead center. Next specification, it can be specified like the maximum diameter of the workpiece that can be revolved or that can be swing over the lathe bed. Okay, maximum means only this much. Okay, this much diameter of the workpiece that can be revolved or rotated over the lathe bed, that means are above the lathe bed. That is one more specification of the lathe machine. Okay, one is the maximum length of the workpiece can be held between the two centers, and the maximum diameter of the workpiece that can be revolved or swing over the lathe bed or above the lathe bed. And next, if is there any gap is given in the lathe bed, okay, in that lathe bed they are provided with any gap, okay, in that gap the maximum diameter and the maximum width of the workpiece that can be revolved or that can be rotated. Okay, if the lathe bed have the gap. Okay, if there lathe bed, if in the lathe bed if there is any gap is there, in that means in that gap the maximum diameter and the maximum width of the workpiece can be revolved when the lathe have the gap. Okay, next the overall length of the bed is equal to the total length of the lathe itself. Okay, the length of the lathe bed is equal to the total length of the lathe. Okay, this is the specification of the lathe. Okay, so lathe are specified like, one is the maximum length of the workpiece can be held between the two centers, and the maximum diameter of the workpiece that can be revolved over the lathe bed or swing over the lathe bed, and the maximum diameter and the maximum width of the workpiece that can be revolved when the lathe bed have the gap, and the maximum or overall length of the bed it is equal to the total length of the lathe. Okay, that is the specification of the lathe. Okay, I hope in the next we will discuss what is the parts of the lathe. Now we will discuss the parts of the engine lathe. The main parts of the engine lathe are, one is the bed, the headstock, tailstock, carriage assembly. In that carriage there is a saddle, cross slide, tool post, screw rod and lead screw. Okay, these are the main components of the lathe. Okay, so let us discuss one by one. So what is bed? Bed, it is the foundation part. Okay, this is called as the bed and it is the foundation part of the lathe. Okay, at the top of the bed they are provided with the guideways. Okay, there are two guideways are provided. One is the inner guideways and the outer guideways. This is the headstock and the tailstock. It is mounted on the inner guideways. Okay, and that is perfectly aligned each other. Okay, the headstock and the tailstock are aligned each other, and the carriage is mounted on the outer guideways. This carriage will move in the horizontal position. Okay, next is the headstock. The headstock, it is the housing. Headstock is the housing of the con pulley and the feed gearbox. Okay, and the projection, the spindle is projected out of the headstock. The headstock, it is mounted on the left side of the lathe bed. Okay, and it is the fixed part. Next is the tailstock. Tailstock, it is the movable part. Okay, and it carries the Okay, next is the tailstock, the tile stock is the movable part and that carries the dead center. Okay, and here we can fix the drill bit or reamer for the drilling operation. Okay, and the tapping tool for the thread cutting operation. Okay, internal thread cutting operation, we can fix the tapping tool in the tile stock. Okay, and this tile stock, the main function of this tile stock is this will support the free end of the workpiece material. Okay, that will support the free end of the workpiece material. Okay, and this will move freely and we can fix it at the desired position. Okay, next is the carriage assembly. The carriage is mounted in between the headstock and tile stock. Okay, the carriage is mounted in between the headstock and tile stock, and this will serve for the support to the cutting tool. This carriage will serve and it support to the cutting tool. This carriage, it consists of the following components, like one is the saddle, cross slide, compound rest and the tool post. Okay, these are the main components of the carriage. Okay, first one, it is the saddle. It is the head shaped casting that will give the base for the cross slide. Okay, this is the saddle. The saddle is the head shaped, it is looks like a head shape. It is a head shaped casting and it is serves for the base for the cross slide. Next is the cross slide. This is the cross slide. The cross will give the transverse movement to the cutting tool. Okay, the cross slide that will give the transverse movement to the cutting tool, and this cross slide, it can be operated with the help of the hand wheel. Okay, there is a cross feed handle will be there. With the help of this handle we can move the cutting tool in the transverse direction. Okay, and this is mounted over the saddle. Next, there is the compound rest. The compound is mounted over the cross slide, and this compound rest can be swiveled at an angle to facilitate the thread cutting operation and the taper turning operation. Okay, this compound holders that can be swiveled manually. Okay, for facilitate the taper turning operation and then the thread cutting operation. And this is the base for the compound tool post. The tool post is mounted over the compound rest. Okay, and this carries the cutting tool. Okay, the tool post will hold the cutting tool rigidly. Okay, that is the tool post. Next is the screw rod. Lead screw. It is the screw rod that will give the automatic movement for the carriage for the thread cutting operation. Okay, this lead screw that will provide the automatic movement for the carriage for the thread cutting operation. Next is the feed rod. That feed rod it is mounted in the front end of the lathe bed, and this will give the movement to the carriage for the turning operation, facing operation. Okay, and these are the main components of the lathe bed. Okay, first one, there is the bed. It is the foundation part and it supports all other parts of the machine, and this bed is made up of cast iron, and at the top of the bed is provided with two guideways. Okay, one is the inner guideways and one is the outer guideways. The headstock and tile stock is mounted on the inner guideways, and both are perfectly fit aligned each other, and the carriage is mounted on the outer guideways. Headstock is mounted in the left end of the lathe bed. Okay, and it is the housing of the feed gearbox and the con pulley. Okay, and the spindle is projected out from the headstock, and it is the fixed part. And next is the tile stock. Tile stock is the movable part and it is carries the dead center. Okay, and this here we can fix the twist drill or the reamer for the drilling operation, or we can fix the tapping tool for the internal thread cutting on the workpiece material. Okay, and this can be moved freely. You can fix at any desired position the tile stock. Generally the tile stock is mounted on the left end of the lathe bed. And next is the carriage. The carriage is mounted in between the headstock and tile stock, and this will support and serve and support to the tool post. And this carriage, it consists of one is the saddle is there, and the cross slide is there, and compound tool rest is there, and then the tool post. These are the main components of the carriage. Okay, saddle, it is a head shaped casting and it is the base for the cross slide. The cross slide that will give the transverse movement, that is a linear movement to the cutting tool. Okay, and this can be operated with the help of the cross slide hand wheel. Okay, and it is the base for the compound rest. Compound rest that will supports to the cutting tool. Okay, and this compound tool rest can be swiveled, can be rotated at any desired angle for to facilitate the taper turning operation. And above the compound rest there is a tool post. The tool post will hold the cutting tool rigidly. Okay. And then there is a lead screw that is the screw rod that will provide the automatic movement for the carriage for the thread cutting operation. And there is a lead screw, feed rod. That feed rod is mounted on the front end of the lathe bed that will facilitate the line to line movement for the carriage during the turning operation and the facing operation. Okay, this is the main parts of the lathe machine. Okay, now I will summarize what we have discussed in the today's session. Okay, first we will discuss what we mean by machining and what is machine tool and principle and working of the lathe and the specification of the lathe and parts of the lathe. Okay, machining means the removing the excess material from the workpiece by using a cutting tool to get the desired shape and size. We can call it as the machining. Okay, this machining process that can be carried out either manually or by using the specialized machines or by using the machine tools. Manual machining in the sense with the help of the hand tools you can remove the material manually from the workpiece. That is called as manual machining process. That means by using the chisel, files or saw. Okay, these are the hand tools. By using these hand tools we are removing the excess material from the workpiece to get the desired shape and size. That is called as manual machining process. So this machining process carried out with the help of the machine, that is called as the machine tools. Okay, machine tool is a power driven machine. Okay, power driven machine that is used to removing the excess material from the workpiece in order to get the desired shape and size. That is called as machine tools. Okay, next we will discuss lathe. What is lathe? Lathe is a machine tool. Okay, it is generally employed for producing the cylindrical shaped component, that is called as the lathe. It is the mother of all the machine tool and it is so versatile machine and it is the oldest type of the machine tools. And the lathe is with the help of this lathe we are removing the excess material from the workpiece to get the desired shape and size by using the cutting tool or by using a single point cutting tool, that is called as the lathe. Okay, and there are various types of lathe machines are available. One is engine lathe, speed lathe, capstan lathe, turret lathe, automatic lathe and CNC lathe. Next is the principle. We have discussed the principle of lathe. In the principle of lathe, just the workpiece will be held between the two centers and the cutting tool will be stationary. Just we have to feed the cutting tool against the rotating workpiece material and move parallelly. At that time the excess metal will be removed in the form of fine chips and we will get the desired shape and size. That is the working principle of the lathe. Okay, basically lathe is a turning machine. It is used to producing the cylindrical shaped component. Next we discussed specification of lathe, how the lathe are specified. Okay, one is based on the maximum length of the workpiece can be held between the two centers and maximum diameter of the workpiece that can be revolved over the lathe bed, and the maximum diameter and maximum width of the workpiece can be revolved when the lathe bed have the gap, and then the overall length of the bed is equal to the total length of the lathe. And next we discuss the parts of the lathe. The various parts of the lathe are: one is bed and headstock, tailstock, carriage. In that carriage there is a saddle, cross slide, compound rest, tool post, screw rod and feed rod. Okay, these are the main parts of the lathe machine. Okay, I hope all of you understood what we have discussed in the today's session. In the next video I am going to discuss about the operation of the lathe. What are all the operations can be performed on the lathe machine. Thank you.